Three scams real estate investors need to be on the lookout for. How you doing, guys? I'm Scott Jelinek with the Freedom Accelerator program, and I want to tell you about three scams going on right now in real estate so that you can keep your eyes open for them. So the very first, the number one scam that I'm going to tell you to keep your eyes open for is going to be from sellers that don't actually even own the property. Now, you may think, well, they don't own the property, so clearly they're not going to be able to sell it, because before we get to closing, the title search is going to come in and you're going to see that they don't own it. Well, although that is true, the way they get around that is they don't ever actually even plan on selling you the property. They just collect earnest money deposits. So they'll give you a deal that's too good to be true. You can't pass it up. They'll just tell you got to give them $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 as an earnest money deposit, and then then they'll contract with you, which is such a great deal. You feel compelled to do it, but then when title search comes in, you're going to find out they didn't even own it, and they're gone. They're never going to answer your question. So what do? Well, first off, if and when you do have to give an earnest money deposit, in some states it's required, in my state it's not required, but if you're in a state where it is required and you have to give an earnest money deposit, you can, but this is the rule. You only ever give an earnest money deposit to your attorney or title company. You never, ever, under any circumstances, give an earnest money deposit to the seller, because you have no way of knowing if that seller even owns the property or if they have the ability to sell. Ask me how I know, right? I've learned this the hard way. I've lost money on this before, and we do not give any earnest money deposits ever anymore to a seller, to a wholesaler, to anybody. The only people we'll give it to would be an attorney or the title company. The second scam to be aware of is going to be when you're selling something and you get people that send you money. They'll send you checks. And I have three of them right here just to give you an idea. They'll send you certified checks, and you'll see these are $79,000. One is for $76,000 and the other one is for $74,000. And this is all for something that I was selling for $69,000. So what they do is they act like, oh, I'm out of the country, I'm here, but I really want it. I'm going to get you a cashier's check. Don't worry, I trust you, right? But then they send you the check and it's for more money than you were even asking. So then what do they ask you to do? Deposit the check, and then you can send me back the $6,000, the $5,000, the $3,000 difference. Now, in some instances, they won't say to send it back to them. They'll say, oh, well, can you just wire it to my interior decorator, or some variation of that. The reality is these are fake checks. They're made up on, they make them on fake paper. They're fake checks. They're not going to clear, but when you deposit it, that money will be in your account the next day. And then if you were to wire out the $3,000 or the $6,000 or whatever, that money will be sent. But about 10 days later, this check will come back as bad, and they'll withdraw the whole $74,000, leaving your account negative the amount that you wired, and you cannot get that money back. Once it's wired, it's gone. And so if anybody ever sends you a certified check and it's not the right amount and they're asking you to send money back, clearly it's a scam. I'm trying to see if you can even see who this is made out to. That's right, Hey Would You Blow Me? That's the name I always use. I always know it's a scam, but I always play with them because they FedEx them. And I know that FedEx costs them about $25. And so every time I got one of these people trying to scam me, I always play along. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Oh, definitely. Yeah, send me the money. And then they send out these checks to you. I make up a fake name on it. I let them send me the money. And then they call and say, oh, I'm just checking if you wired the money. And I'll just say, oh, the security at the bank wants to speak to you. And they'll click, and you'll never hear from them again. So that's another scam. If anybody's sending you money and it's the wrong amount and they want you to send back the difference or use the difference for some other function or reason, clearly it's a scam. Don't fall for it. And the last scam I want to talk to you about, which some people may or may not agree is a scam, but I think it's the biggest scam, but most of us are brainwashed into believing it, that is the 30-year mortgage. There is no reason you need to lock yourself into a 30-year mortgage and be paying on it for the rest of your life. This is why I've created the slow flip. This is why I wrote the book, The Art of the Slow Flip, right? It's because there has to be a better way. And so we pay off our houses in 5 years. I'm a firm believer in the free and clear model. So many people are brainwashed out there with this refi until you die and this keep refining the Burr method, right? Pulling out the money and doing it all over again. And in the end, you end up with a well-paid job working for the banks. You have to do all the work and you send the money up to the banks. And although some people debate that this is or is not a scam, I firmly believe that this whole conventional rental model was invented by the banks, and it was designed to keep you in debt to them. So we run around and do all the work, collect the checks, and then send the money up to the bank. And in my opinion, that is a scam. And so those are the three scams I think you need to be on the lookout for. One is people selling you houses that they do not even own, just collecting EMDs. The other is when they're buying from you, sending you checks that are fake for over the amount and then asking you to wire back the difference or wire it somewhere. And the third, which is always debatable whether or not it's a scam, is going to be to do a conventional 30-year mortgage and work on that tiny spread, and you end up being enslaved to the bank indefinitely or for the rest of your life or for at least 30 years on each one of those properties. That's all I got for you guys today. I just wanted to share with you the three biggest scams that are out there in real estate today. If you have not read it yet, go ahead and read the book that I had written called The Art of the Slow Flip. I promise you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to open up your mind to another concept and another way of doing business. Have a great day.